Well, good morning and welcome back after a 3-week absence in which all the troops are refueled and are ready to charge into a new month, a new season, the autumn season of mists. And what do we end up with? A heat wave. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is Mirador Television. I'm Keith Hayes. We are broadcasting from the White Hart Hotel in Lewis, and we hope that throughout this week we've got an interesting week lined up for you. Everything is rusty, of course, so it'll take time to kick in. We are at the moment trying hard to get hold of Stephanos. Yes, I just want to make sure that I get it right. Stephanos Coronelius, who is the musical director of the. Let's get it right. Get it absolutely right. Is these foreign names as they were, forgive me, Stephanos, Grattacielo Opera Company in New York, but he's in Mexico. So we have to hope that the vagaries of the internet will put us through to Mexico and that we can chat to Stephanos where it is midnight. So he said he would be awake and ready to go. It's 3 minutes past 7. I believe that he was having a very late rehearsal or was coming from a rehearsal. So we'll give him a little while. And in the meantime, let me catch up with you. Those of you who are familiar with Mirador will know that it is the television station of cock-ups. If anything can go wrong, it can go wrong on Mirador. And already one or two things have gone wrong this morning, despite the fact that I hauled myself out of bed at 4 o'clock so I could get here and start things rolling. We are a television service that is local but not parochial. We are based in Lewis. We take a lot of material from Lewis and we provide a lot of material to Lewis, but we are not bound by the constraints of being a local or parochial station. We do all sorts of things. And today, apart from Stephanos in Mexico, we have got the two barristers, one of whom has remained in Arundel, where he lives, and the other has gone to Scotland on a holiday. But he assures me that we should be able to get hold of him. Believe me, if I can't get hold of some of the people that we got slated for this morning, I'm going to have to do a lot of fast talking because there's only me between now and 11 o'clock. But nonetheless, we motor on and try to bring you not only a laugh and a giggle, but information and the occasional comment when we get upset with things. And actually, I have to say that one of the things that we are introducing in this month is taking a look at the corporate sector. Is it fit for purpose? And we're going to focus on O2 because I had a personal experience of O2. I have had in the past. Frankly, I think that they should fire their chief executive. He doesn't seem to understand that he's a communications company because communicate he does not. You go onto their website and it says log into your O2. So you log into your O2 and partway through it says, oh, we can't put you on. What you've got to do is you've got to check with such and such. So you check with such and such, and it says you can't do that because you're not logged on. It's crazy. That's number one. But the worst sin that they commit is that they cut you off and then say the way to get reinstated is by phoning us. hang on, you just actually cut me off from your phone. It is, and how much do I owe you? 59 pence, right? Because this stupid system, and let's have a go at the banks as well, this stupid system of direct debit is such that there is no flexibility in it. The computer is not like a bank manager, not like somebody in the bank that can say, oh, yes, okay, you owe 59 pence. We'll wave it through. On the contrary, if you are 1 pence over, it cuts you off. And then it won't let you tap back in. I still haven't got a phone this morning, even though this offense occurred last week. Offense. I should be apologetic? No, I should not be apologetic. I should. Let's just cozy up a bit. I should be angry and I've been with O2 for a long time. I should be angry that they can treat a customer this way. And in fact, I am angry. And let me say that I now tell people, do not join O2. And let me warn you, one isn't much better than the other, but do not join O2. It is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. It is badly governed, and its rules and regulations are such that it is not helpful if something goes wrong. But mostly, like a lot of big business, it relies upon computers, Instead of using them to good effect and to help the business, what they do is they religiously follow. In fact, they actually hand everything over to the computer. But a computer is only as good as the stuff that's fed into it. And do they update it on a weekly basis, monthly basis, or even a yearly basis? No, they don't. So as a consequence, what we have is a very poor service and one you can't get out of. I actually have an issue with them. They say that I was consulted. I most certainly wasn't. I may be old, I may be forgetful, but I wasn't consulted. And that's just not on. Because they carry huge weight, which the government is going to have to, sooner or later, cut from under them. It's going to have to make them responsible. The utilities company, I say facilities company, but facilities company is as good as anything, but particularly the financial sector, just play fast and loose with their rules and their regulations, how they operate, and whether they operate efficiently or not. Well, that is not good enough. There is no sense in the government saying, check online. There's no sense in your local council saying, check online. There's no sense in business at all saying, check online, if in fact, online is inaccurate. And as for passwords, that is crazy. This morning, I wanted to check my bank account. Just to get into my bank account, I've got to have 2 passwords. To get into my computer, I've got to have a further password. And if anything goes wrong and I have to change it, if I supposedly forget my password, then I'm afraid there's nothing that can put it right. It sends you around the houses and says, we'll send a confirmation to another password, for God's sake. And then it doesn't come to your phone. And then they say, if it doesn't, what you do is you tap into this for another password. It's all very well for them. They've got huge numbers of people looking after their own interests. They don't have anybody looking after their customers' interests. And it is not good enough. It is not good enough by far. There's got to be some sort of legislation that insists that the banks treat their customers with courtesy and respect. Never mind the fact that they're obviously as dumb as dickheads when it comes to marketing. It's like the old railways. Is if we want to move a carriage from point A to point B, we do it and we dump all the passengers out and let them wait for another train. To hell with you as customers. Operations take precedence over everything. Well, that's the way it's become with the financial sector. And if they keep on telling me that computers are providing a better way of life, that's BS. So O2, and for that matter, BT, and some of the pretenders coming up on the outside, if you don't actually get your act together, you're going to lose the plot. And you're going to lose your customers. And the whole communications industry is going to be thrown into complete chaos. If you want that, that's fine. Just sit and wait for it. And we'll suffer in between time. If you don't, if you really truly believe your own publicity, that you are good, as good as you get, then it's about time you did something. So remember, ladies and gentlemen of the Mirador viewership, if you don't have to deal with O2, don't. Although don't be surprised if the others are equally as bad. Anyway, that's off the plot a little bit. We are hoping to go to Mexico in a minute. Just give me a moment and let's see if I don't see that Stephanus has been in touch. So we can still expect him to appear. But later on this morning, because we are international today, I just mentioned that Richard Barton, one of the two barristers who will be on a little later, is in Scotland. And why not? What a good place to be. Very nice, Scotland. Very nice to visit. I don't know that it's so good to live there unless you like solitude. I like a bit of solitude, but I don't like it all the time. So that's where Richard is, and Philip is in Arundel, sitting in state. I'm not sure that he owns the castle. Claims he does, but who knows? Then after that, we're going to France because somebody I've known, and we checked yesterday when we were just checking in, is we've known one another for 50 years. 50 years. And Harry Atherton, who was with me in Vancouver and was a founder member of the Scribes Rugby Club, which I mentioned before, a journalists' rugby club that we thought might last a couple of seasons and has now lasted for 50 years. Wow, how time flies when you're having fun. Anyway, Harry decamped to France, and he has become a hero to the French government because he's used his particular expertise in making sure that a number of artifacts, old buildings and so on, in France have either been saved or restored. And he has lived in France for some considerable time. But there are two things with Harry. One, today we're going to talk about his career because he started off as a guardsman. He started off in the household cavalry. And then he, let's see, where did he go? He decamped to Canada where I met him. And we worked together. We both split from Vancouver in the 1970s. I came back here, and he went to, I think, first of all, Montreal and Toronto in Eastern Canada, where he was a huge success in the corporate sector before coming back here and once again showing his business acumen and taking off to the point where he was able to go and get a job in France, where he's been for the last 40 years anyway. So that's our next interviewee. Then we have, let's see, make sure I'm not missing anybody out. We have, well, Suzanne Musho, whom everybody loves and adores, coming to us from New York. And that is our lineup for this morning, except that we'll be showing one or two other little things along the way, and particularly if we're having difficulty on this first day back getting in touch with people. So there we go. This is Mirador, and what we need to do, I think, is see whether we can find little bits and pieces to. Well, we've got a new station sting. Let's play it for you. Well, that freedom of speech sign is there deliberately because we are untainted. We are unbiased. Each of our presenters, each of the people that you see on Mirador television has full right to do their own thing. Only two constraints. One, don't break copyright. In other words, don't use other people's work without permission. And two, don't be dirty. Don't be obscene. Don't use filth. Other than that, everything is okay. Every viewpoint is quite legitimate in our view. And freedom of speech is really under heavy threat. And I'm sorry to say, is a country where I lived for 17 years. And my late wife was a native of that country. And my daughter was born there. And my two grandsons are proud of their heritage. And that is that Canada seems now to have become heavily under the sway of wokes. And it is sad to see a fine country starting to dissolve with fractious infighting amongst its citizens and dissatisfaction with the government to an extreme level. Why did I start to tell you about that? I was telling you about Mirador. Yeah, we are non-political. We're non-biased. We are non-favoritism. We are just simply a good, solid television station that tells it like it is. and I hope that we will continue to be so. Let's just look at that again because it's brand new. You might be interested. Who knows? So there you are. Now, as we have been working hard, we've got some interesting things coming up. First of all, next Saturday is open day at the courts. And since we major on crime a lot, we've got the two Bs, the two barristers, who are a barrel of fun, but also give us insight into what goes on behind the scenes. And we are restoring our program Catch 'em, which is a view of crime as it is today and as it is in our area. We have Liza Page with an alternative view. Some people would say she's a conspiracy theorist. But this lady does her homework, and when she makes a protestation, when she makes a statement, when she makes a claim, she's backed it up with hours and hours of research. I can't tell you how much this lady researches her material. So we've got Liza on regularly. We are starting to build our people. We've got Suzanne and Dr. Mark Maybe, who are going to do a series on continuing education, both for whom they have a passion, and they are going to do a program. We got the irrepressible John Henty back with, first of all, his insights into Max Miller and some of the stars of that era, but also his own particular brand of humor with the little bag that he brings in, and nobody knows what he has got inside them. Stuart Dolby will be around with some more energy matters, and also interviewing some of his various people that he's bumped into over the years. And it would appear that we've got one or two more eager to join us. So watch for the fresh faces. I am just going to just take a look and see whether we can find out whether Stefanos is getting back home. So forgive me for just looking as if I'm looking at stuff and typing. It is quite early in the morning. We won't be starting until actually 8 o'clock. But normally but because of the time change with the west coast of the Americas and the position in the time scale of Mexico, we came on an hour early this morning, and I hope it isn't a futile hour. We are trying hard to raise him. Anything could happen with email, I'm afraid, but nonetheless, beware. This is one of the things that we labour under. The locally, the Phoenix Project, as it's called, rumbles on, and other things which we've forgotten about temporarily, like the bus station. There's things have happened there, and we'll be keeping an eye on that. And also on the developments in the local council as they plod on and look at absolutely everything except the things that concern us. We've got programs on sport, and we've got programs on other issues in the town coming up. So dip in for that from time to time. And we have me giving you the latest news, which I'm going to in a moment. Let's just take a look. Take a look gently down the stream. Right. Let's see. Yes. What we'll do is we'll try and play it cool. We will indeed. Suffice it to say that one of the headlines is that we're in for a hot streak. Okay. Let's no. All right, The Guardian. Is schools crisis. No extra cash for repairs, says the Treasury. So this government has managed to back itself into a corner again, making a big case about the crumbling schools and what it says is following up on last week's news about crumbling concrete in schools. The Guardian reports a briefing from the Treasury that schools would not receive additional funding for repairs, despite Jeremy Hunt earlier saying the government would spend the money needed to fix the issue. The paper says the Chancellor is accused of abandoning children disrupted by the concrete crisis in schools. The paper reports the briefing was that any funding to fix buildings would come from the Department for Education's existing budget for buildings and not from additional funds. So there, take that. The Eye says Hunt vows to make schools safe at any cost, but there's no new money. Same story about the crumbling schools. Jeremy Hunt comes under pressure from his own MPs to spell out how repairs due to crumbling school buildings will be paid for. But at the moment, nothing is being done, even though term starts again today for many people, for many youngsters. And apparently they'll be greeted with, sorry, your school is going to crumble around your ears. The Times. Hundreds of schools still in the dark over the safety fears. Oh, yes, same story. Hundreds of schools still in the dark over safety fears, says the Times. He notes that ministers are facing demands to speed up inspections of schools after acknowledging it could take months to understand the full extent of the problem. Excuse me if I lavish my throat. With a little bit of coffee, deserved at this hour of the morning, I think. The Mirror, Starmer's tax pledge. My promise to workers: I won't raise your income tax. I won't hammer you like Tories. My plan for growing the economy. The Mirror claims it's exclusive with Starmer, who promises not to increase income tax in what it says is a major election promise. We will do nothing to increase the burden on working people, whether it contains to tax or anything else, he tells the paper. The Daily Telegraph. Sunak reels on onshore wind farms. That story is about in keeping with the secret run of stories about disagreement within government on green issues. Rishi Sunak is set to tamper to overturn the ban on building new onshore wind farms to stave off a rebellion from Tory MPs, the paper says. The Daily Mail. Councils allow staff to work from the beach. Wow, dramatic tenfold rise in the number of local authority employees who log on to their day jobs from far-flung destinations. So that's what the Daily Mail is getting upset about. The figure has risen from 73 in the year 2020-21 to more than 700 last year, it reports. The story is based on freedom of information requests submitted to local authorities by Think Fast, the Taxpayers Alliance. The Financial Times. Russia banks propped up by Chinese cash. It was bound to happen that the Chinese economy should implode, and now it looks as if it has. The Times reports, this is the Financial Times reports, a financial position leads to the fact that Chinese leaders stepped in to extend billions of dollars to Russia as Western institutions pulled out of looking after them in the year following the invasion of Ukraine. It's based on research carried out for the paper by the Kiev School of Economic Domesticity. The paper reports the Irish government is taking legal advice over a court challenge against controversial UK legislation, which would offer an amnesty for crimes committed during the conflict in Northern Ireland. Right. And the Sun goes with an interview with Danny Cipriani, yes, article with Danny Cipriani, that says that the England coaches went as far as to probe him over his sex life when seeing if he was a suitable candidate to fill the number 10 spot in the England hierarchy. And the Star, God bless it, the hottest day on the way, and a heat wave fit for zombies to burn until Halloween. That's quite a long time. It's 6 weeks. 6 weeks. And its front page shows a skeleton, trick or heat. accompanied by the skeleton sunglasses, is I think a stringer, trick or heat, with temperatures set to rise as the week goes on. The paper says there is the potential for a long spell of spookily warm weather. Well, there you go. That's the way the national media see it. I'm just checking back with our mainstream camera, and there I am, having read to you the news headlines. And I think what we'll do now is, as it's obvious that we haven't got through to Stephanus, and let's say that's a good start, because I cocked something up earlier when we first went on the air. So it looks as if we haven't lost our knack for that. And for the moment, I think what we'll do is we will, let's see, we'll take a little break before we go and take another serious look at the newspapers. See you in 5 minutes. Well, here I am back again. That's our station singing out. We are going to end this broadcast at 7:39. Goodness gracious me, how the time does fly. But basically, the news is no more money for crumbling schools, and the fact that we're going to hit a hot streak. And today, I believe that, well, let's just see if we can conjure up the heat. Can we or can't we? I think perhaps not. No, we're better not take the chance. We had better not take the chance. All right. We'll be back, and then we'll rejoin you at 8 o'clock. For the moment, toodle pip. I told you things would go wrong. As there we go. It didn't click end broadcast. So take one last look at my loving face. Ooh.